Hey, what's up everybody? Remi Sovran here from RemiSovran.com. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to perform the glute bridge and some coaching cues and some tips to look out for when performing this exercise. So the glute bridge is an important exercise in strengthening the glutes and also activating the glutes. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of people have trouble activating their glutes, or sometimes they may just have weak glutes. So this is a good exercise for kind of learning to activate them or even to reactivate them or strengthen them. Often you'll see in general society today, a lot of people that suffer from back pain often have trouble activating their glutes, or they may just have weak glutes in general. And the reason why this is important is because the gluteus maximus itself, it's an important stabilizer for our spine and also for our SI joint. So people that suffer from lower back pain, SI joint problems, often typically will have maybe problems activating their glutes or activating that glute max, or just it might be weak in general. So this is a good exercise for kind of activating that glute max and also strengthening it. Okay, so to perform this, what you're going to do is you're just going to lie on the ground, lie on your back, so in the supine position. And knees are going to be flexed. Next, in a neutral position, you're going to slightly brace your core here, your abdominal wall. So what I mean by a brace is think about bracing your elbow. Now, think about squeezing it maximally, stiffening it very hard, but you just want a slight brace in your abdominal wall. So it's like a slight tension in the core here. That's just to ensure kind of stability of the spine. Also, what I like to do is kind of squeeze my lats together also to kind of ensure that stability to the spine. So that slight brace throughout the torso, so through the lats, through the abdominal wall here. Next from here, I like to point my toes upwards. So when I'm pointing my toes upwards, I feel like I get more activation through my glute max here, just because it ensures more, I feel like it gets more tension and ensures a little bit more activation as opposed to the feet being on the floor. So that's one kind of difference that if you're having trouble activating your glutes, you might want to try. So feet upwards. Now, keep in mind though, you don't want to push your heels into the ground, because if you push your heels into the ground, what ends up happening is your hamstrings will become more of the dominant muscle within this exercise. And so what we're just looking to do is keep the feet upwards, but the heels are relaxed. So now from here, feet upwards, that slight brace still crank, and then you're just going to push upwards, squeezing the glutes, so you can palpate just to see if they're activated, and then hold this neutral position here for about a few seconds, or a second or two, then lower yourself back to the starting position slowly and controlled. So one key thing to look out for is you want to avoid going into hyperextension. So what I mean by hyperextension is shooting your hips upwards and getting your hips out of that neutral position and more forward. What ends up happening here is we create more of an extension pattern in our lower back, which could potentially lead to extension-based back pain over time if we continuously do this, especially if we load up with weight like a barbell and we make this into more of a hip thrust or something. That's when it can become very problematic. So that's why I kind of only advise going to neutral and squeezing your glutes just forcefully at that position. So I'll show you a couple repetitions on just how to perform it. So making sure you have that brace, getting to neutral, squeezing those glutes maximally, and then returning to the starting position nice and controlled. And then repeat. Now you can leave your feet on the ground, or you can kind of point your toes upwards. I just prefer to kind of keep them upwards. I feel like I get more activation in the glutes. But some people might feel like they might feel a little bit more with their feet on the ground. I just feel like with the feet upwards, put you at a little bit more of a mechanical advantage to kind of shoot your hips upward and get a little bit more activation in the glutes. Just remember to kind of keep those heels relaxed and make sure you're not pushing into the ground, because that would make it more of a hamstring dominant exercise. So one other key thing too is, even if this is just for a coach or anyone that's kind of teaching this type of exercises, you want to look for the activation patterns between the glute max and the hamstrings. And so if you have maybe a client or someone that you're teaching this exercise to, what you want to look for is you want to palpate the hamstrings in the starting position. So if the individual is basically starting the exercise with their hamstrings, then you'll know that they're more hamstring dominant as opposed to being more glute dominant, because for the purpose of this exercise, if we want to develop the glute max, we want to make sure those glutes are firing maximally as opposed to the hamstrings. we want those glutes recruited first. So we can do that, and we can test for it by just palpating the glutes here and the hamstrings and just seeing what kind of activates first. And so one way we could kind of maybe correct for more of a hamstring dominant person is kind of pushing the feet upwards and forward. And this will ensure a little bit more glute max activation as well as a hamstring. And also you just want to kind of focus on squeezing those glutes maximally. So you would start in this position, have them basically squeeze the glutes and then pop upwards. And then you could kind of feel for what's activated as they kind of lower themselves and also as they kind of shoot themselves up into extension. So that's just something to kind of look out for as maybe a coach if you're teaching this exercise to someone, is to kind of palpate the hamstring or the glutes, or even just yourself. You can kind of palpate your hamstrings or your glutes to kind of see what is firing and where do you feel it more. Because if the purpose is to activate the glute max, then you want to make sure the glutes are firing as opposed to the hamstrings. That's not to say the hamstrings aren't going to fire, it's just you want the glutes to be more dominant than hamstrings. Because if the hamstrings are more dominant, it's going to become more of a hamstring dominant exercise. Okay guys, so that's just kind of my tips to perform the glute bridge. Those are some cues to look out for, and also for any coach to maybe look out for as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, just one more point that I want to make is that a lot of my channel talks about preventing lower back pain and kind of maintaining good spinal stability. So this is just one exercise that could potentially prevent lower back pain and also maybe even rehab from some sort of lower back pain injury. And also it's a good exercise for kind of maintaining high performance as well, because we know the glutes are very important in hip extension and also ensuring that healthy spinal stability and strength. Okay guys, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, be sure to subscribe. Okay guys, all the best and take care.